I think that we're going to have a pretty good time today. What is happening, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video and being here, joining me today for this wonderful, hopefully surprise of a long song Saturday tonight for myself. It's like, I don't know, 6 something p.m. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and do a full album listen of The Who with their album Who's Next. This is their album released 1971, their 5th studio album. Highly regarded, highly recommended by so many of you that I can't even name all of you, but I'll try a few. This album had been suggested to me by Sicko the EW, Yeshead, Mink Hollow, Bob Holtzman, Chris9497, XL Lexicon Matt, Blaine Williams, Garrick's Apprentice, Space Cat, Jeremy B, Sound Lab Studio, Pipe Man, Manuel Boyka, Bathsheba, Courtney Wallace, Jeremy B again, Jeff Martin, Mink Hollow. It goes on and on. Damon, all of you. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Thank you so much for the suggestion. Really appreciate you guys joining me here today for the Long Song Saturday. I don't want to talk too much. I just want to sit here, listen to the music, and enjoy a little bit of that. Oh my. I just want to sit here with you guys. So before we dive into it, one, I really appreciate you stopping by. Maybe it's your first time here. You're like, who's this guy? Thanks for being here. Thanks for stopping on by. It's a very casual listen here. We listen to the music, we listen to the lyrics, we talk about it a little bit after we listen to it. 2, with The Who, last time when we listened to Tommy, the music had gotten copyright blocked. So I'm assuming that's a Who thing, so I'm expecting more of the same here. So if it is blocked here, you can click the link down below in the description and watch the full version, including the music, for free over on Patreon. I do not block it from anyone. I do not, put I guess a payment wall behind it, a paywall. That's what they call it. All you got to do is you do have to make an account. It's free, but you can watch it whenever you want at your leisure or at your leisure. 2, hey, speaking of Patreon, if you want to support what I do over there, you can for as little as $2 a month, but you don't have to. Once again, you don't have to watch this if it's blocked. 3, kind of going back to the same point as number 1. I just appreciate you being here. So settle in, strap in. We're going to take a listen to the album. Now, the first track, Baba O'Riley. I have seen that title before. It looks familiar to me, so there's a very strong chance that I've heard that song before. Of course, I'll let you know as we go. But yeah, we'll listen to it. We'll talk about it after each song. Most of you know what we do here by now. So without further ado, after I feel like I've already done, almost 3 minutes of ado? That's a long enough intro. Let's go ahead and start off the album. Listen with the first track here, Baba O'Riley. We'll start the music. And as always, here's to you. A little sip of the water. That sounds familiar. I love how it dropped out for a moment. And Whistle changing the bass line. Okay. Is that Jean-Luc on here? Okay. That's a really, really fantastic opener. So, as I mentioned as the song was going on, the riff, the jittery little keyboard or synth, whatever it is, I've heard that before, and I've heard the riff before. I've heard at least the first minute or so of this track. When it got into the section after the first chorus, when the music drops out for a moment, which is really, really awesome. I love how Daltrey is left alone with that jittery keyboard line, and he has a little bit of a acapella moment or a solo moment with that line. And then the music comes right back in, drums leading, and then everyone else in tow. That's a fantastic moment. But from that moment forward, I can't say that I've heard anything after that. So this is probably one of those tracks where, like I said, its reputation precedes it because I've seen the name, and obviously I've heard at least the meat of this song. The cheese and the lettuce I haven't tasted yet. However, some of the bread, half of it, and a little bit of salami on top, I have tasted. What a fantastic opener, though. So one thing I really liked is with John Entwistle. I really like how on the second half of the song, he changed the bass line. So before he just plays alongside with everything, bum, bum bum, just kind of doubles with the guitar. But then later on, he starts to add a little groove into that, which I just thought that was a phenomenal choice because it took away from the staticness of that riff. Not saying it's a bad thing, but it took away from the staticness of the riff and gave it a little bit of lifeblood. It gave it some juice to kind of pump it up. It's like that turkey baster, put in some gravy, and it takes it really, really good going down. I don't know, I think it's keyboard, but looking here, it's going to be Townshend either on the organ, the Lowrey organ, or piano. That's making that sound in the back, which to me sounds like a piano just sped up in the way it's playing. That's not the way it goes, but you know what I mean? But either way, however that's being performed, I think it sounds really cool. And I think it's an interesting choice to make that go through pretty much most of the song. As we get into the back half of it all, that fast, jittery keyboard kind of slows down for a moment, and then you have those little ambient guitars begin to come in. It kind of changes the mood once again, and then it hurls itself into its final finale. I think that was an excellent choice. The song shows great composition, and I mean, obviously, as popular as this song is, I'm looking at the Wikipedia article about it, which we'll talk about, like, there's a lot of nuance in it. I'm pretty sure, don't quote me, I'm pretty sure that this album came after Tommy. I'm going to confirm that super quick, just while we're talking. This is their 5th studio album. So let me go quickly to their discography. And perfect. This is literally the album 2 years later after Tommy. So taking, I guess, that rock opera progressive-like nature of Tommy, you can kind of hear how that is kind of snuck its way into this track, I guess you could say, as it is. Let's go ahead and look at these lyrics, though, huh? Let me pull you up here. You are. Out here in the fields, I fight for my meals. I get back to my living. I don't need to fight to prove I'm right. I don't need to be forgiven. He don't need you. He don't need your mama either. He's good on his own. He doesn't need to prove himself to anybody or anyone. Don't cry. Don't raise your eye. It's only teenage wasteland. Sally, take my hand. We'll travel south cross land. Put out the fire and don't look past my shoulder. The exodus is here. The happy ones are near. Let's get together before we get much older. Teenage wasteland. It's only teenage wasteland. So, of course, I guess in a sense they're taking the, that teenage adolescence, that teenage independence, like a teenager is now striving for adulthood and to be their own. And I love the line where he says, Sally, take my hand, we'll travel across the land. The exodus is here, the happy ones are near. Like, this is the time. This is the time, and now is the time to do what we're going to do, to set off on this journey of whatever it may be. I'm just taking this as the journey of life. And then it goes on from there. Looking at the Wikipedia article for this one, it was released as a single in 1971, coupled with My Wife. And then it's, of course, appeared live. It's one of the greatest songs of all time. That's cool, but I want to know more about the actual background. So let's look at the background section. This was written for his Lifehouse project, a rock opera intended as the follow-up to Tommy. In Lifehouse, a Scottish farmer named Ray would have sung the song at the beginning as he gathered his wife Sally and 2 children to begin their exodus to London. There you go. When Lifehouse was scrapped, 8 of the songs were salvaged and recorded for The Who's 5th album. Okay, so that's where the whole Sally comes from, and that's where that kind of story comes from. Okay, the song title refers to 2 of Townshend's major inspirations at the time, Indian spiritual master Meher Baba and American minimalist composer Terry Riley. Hold on, before I click. I believe that Terry Riley, I've never listened to anything from him on the channel, and I don't recognize his name at all, besides what I'm about to say. I believe Terry Riley has made an album, Something Rainbows. And it's like, the album cover is like his head and some artwork around it, because I've seen his name come up in recommendations, and I've looked up the album as a possibility for future listening for like a Long Song Saturday. Anyways, so that makes sense where the name comes from. Baba and then Riley. So putting those things together. All right, so this is what I'm actually kind of interested in before we go on. The repeating set of notes, ostinato, that opens and underlies the song was derived from the Lifehouse concept, where Townshend wanted to input the vital signs and personality of Meher Baba into a synthesizer, which would then generate music based on that data. That's kind of interesting. Kind of like a very proto-AI kind of thing. When this idea fell through, Townshend instead recorded a Lowrey Berkshire Deluxe TB-01 organ using its marimba feature. Okay, so that's what the sound is to generate them. Okay, this modal approach was inspired by the work of Terry Riley. So I really like how in just not only the name, is the inspiration found, but even in the music itself, truly within the underline and the belly of the song and how he approached it is also paying homage to these two other people. I think that that's really cool. I love the idea behind that and how it's come together. That's really cool. Let's bring you guys back up as we move into the next track here, which is going to be Bargain. Would you like to make a bargain? I don't know why I said that. Let's go. Bill. I gotta give up all I have to find the best I ever They brought back the pocket, but just intensity on the drums just... Guys, guys, I know we're only on the second side of or the second song on the album, but Bargain, you're getting a lot for a bargain from this song. That is absolutely fantastic. The main riff of everything is really fun. I love Daltrey singing in here, but can we talk about that pocket? And with Moon on the drums, his drumming is so amazing in here. So all of the fills that are used to kind of transition from one section in the composition to another, whether it's from like the ending of the chorus into the next verse, which I love how he kind of gives you this little giddy up movement. That's the best way to put it. It's like a little giddy up before we start that movement. Or the way that he ends things. It sounds absolutely amazing. He includes so much subtlety in his fills, and they don't sound just powerful, they also sound graceful. It's just a really great and striking balance. It's kind of like I would put that like in the same, I guess, stratosphere of like Bonham, which like you get the power, but then you also have like the elegance to it. The pocket, I mentioned it and referred to it several times. When the synth comes out, which I'm sure is probably Townsend as well, since he did the organ before, I'm just assuming he's probably handling everything key-wise. That little synth line is so atmospheric and melodic. And the way that the music kind of drifts around that, it just sounds really, really nice. I love the atmosphere it builds, and I love how we stay in that moment for just a little while. It doesn't overstay its welcome. It's not so short that it's unsatisfying. It's actually the perfect amount of time, and I just really enjoyed staying there. Keith, his drumming in there also plays to the atmospherics in it. Then it goes back to the verse, it does a little thing around, and then, hey, buy one, get one, because this is a bargain. You get to go on that specific ride again for the price of one. And I love that, because that's my favorite part of this song, is that bit of ambience and melody. But when we come back to it, it doesn't come back in the same form. No, this is final form Frieza, and Moon is really putting down the groove here. It feels like the closest thing, in my opinion, of fitting a drum solo into the song. Not making a space and fitting a drum solo. No, you got your song, and there's basically a drum solo in there, just moving along with the locomotion of the song. And the way that Keith integrates himself in there, it sounds great. I love the heavy foot pattern on the drums. You hear a lot of rolls. It's just really good. It's just really good. I am extremely impressed by that, and I think that is that's a bargain. That is a bargain. Let me bring you guys up to look at the lyrics here. And some of the lines in here are really good as well. I'd gladly lose me to find you. You start off with a banger of a line. I'll gladly give up all I had to find you. I'd suffer anything and be glad. I'd pay any price just to get you. I'd work all my life, and I will, to win you. I stand naked, stoned, and stabbed. I'd call that a bargain, the best I ever had. Whatever pain, strife, struggle that he has to go through to be with this person, in his opinion, all that is a bargain compared to what he's getting at the end as a reward. That is awesome. And I gladly lose me to find you. I mean, that's just a good line. To catch you, I'm going to run and never stop. I pay any price just to win you. Surrender my good life for bad to find you. I'm going to drown an unsung man. Okay, so hear me out. I didn't click on the annotation, okay? I'm taking this in two ways. I think he's saying, One, like he will drown an unsung man. I don't know exactly what unsung means, but perhaps like he hasn't been able to sing his love for this person or declare his love for this person. Like he would die without being able to declare his love. I don't know, in some way to be with this person. Obviously, he can't when he's dead, but you know what I mean? Like something like that. Or he's willing to kill someone. He was willing to go drown an unsung man to be with this person. Actually, hold on. I swear to you, I didn't look at the annotations, okay? I usually do that right after, like, I give you my meaning, because I like to give you my thoughts first before we click, right? Okay. Or she's already with someone, they're not married, and he would drown the unsung man, perhaps her fiance or boyfriend or whatever, to be with this person. Unsung, unmarried. Let's click the annotation. It is doubtful that he is willing to drown anybody, sung or unsung. Well, I don't know. He is probably talking about himself in both first and third person, belittling himself. Unsung, not celebrated or praised. In Pete Townshend's case, he is in reality exactly the opposite. Famous, admired, very much appreciated. Townshend has specifically tied the idea of drowning to the ideas of Baba Mahir elsewhere as well, of the song Drowned from Quadrophonia. Well, I haven't read that one, so I'm not going to read it. Or I haven't listened to that album, so I can't say. I think I'm pretty close. Whatever. I accept what I say. Let's see. It is a love song, although the intended subject of the song is God rather than a woman. Okay, so I'm thinking of like physical, body, romantic love when it should be more of a holy, divine kind of love. Okay. The lyrics are typical love song lyrics in which the singer says he'll give up everything to win his love. However, the lyrics do not identify who the subject of the singer's love is. Townshend has stated the song was influenced by Baba and that the subject of the song is God. Townshend has stated that the song is simply about losing one's ego as a devotee of Mahir Baba. I constantly try to lose myself and find him. I'm not very successful, I'm afraid, but this song expresses how much of a bargain it would be to lose everything in order to be at one with God. Okay. So once again, I took too much of a love romantic thought when he was clearly going for the more spiritual side of things. Love is love, you know. I was close. Maybe I went too far with the murder angle, but yeah, you know, what can you do? Let's go ahead and listen to the next track here, which that is going to be. Are you guys having a good time? Oh, I'm having a wonderful one. Let's go ahead and move on into Love Ain't Keepin'. And if your love ain't keeping, your cell phone beeping, you better keep your eyes closed to stop you from peeping. Let's go. Slow it down. Love ain't for keeping. They give you a little bit of that country draw. Lay down beside me. Love ain't for keeping. He gave you a little riffage there at the end. He gave you a little something. Okay, this was that good third song, right? When you think about album flow and how things come up, come down, the ebb and flow of an album listen, usually it's by the third or fourth song that you get that softer one. And I like how with this softer approach on this particular track, it goes into like a country kind of feel. And I think that they pulled it off absolutely amazingly. I really love the guitar. I love the mood of it. I like how eventually the harmonies from the band kind of rise up like little flowers in a grassy plain. It's just a very beautiful, quick, in and out song. However, as I mentioned during the song, there's one instrument in particular that I'm paying attention to. I have a bias towards it, but I have a bias towards the bass. So when I'm listening to Entwistle there, and I keep on saying his name differently, Entwistle, I'm listening to John. Listen to the way he plays bass. I said it already, like when we were talking or listening to the track, but listen to his bass playing. Because with a song like this, I can't help but think of a beautiful field. Tall grass, little, I don't know, dandelions or flowers. And the way that his bass would spring and leap out of that particular field of melodic music. I love that it springs out. This might sound silly, but I couldn't help but picture a hare or a rabbit jumping and hopping around the field in this beautiful, you know, view that we have. And I just really love that extra that extra oomph that his bass brings to this particular field of music. It just sounds really, really nice. And not that the song needed to have anything to spice it up or break it down or anything, but I just was really impressed by the movement of that and how it sounded within this. The guitar playing, of course, from Pete is, I think, immaculate. I love that little riff, that little playful little ditty he plays at the very end just to give us that something that you would hear typically in like a country or bluegrass or folk song, just that little extra spice, and then you're out of there. And the tiny little solo he kind of puts in there, it's a quick 2-minute in and out, but it's a good in and out. It's like how I've heard about In-N-Out Burger, but I've never had it, so I don't know how good it is, but people tell me it's good. Laying on my back in the newly mown grass. Oh, there's no better smell than newly mown grass. Rain is coming down, but I know the clouds will pass. You bring me tea, say the babe's a-sleepin'. Lay down beside me, love ain't for keeping. Love isn't for keeping, love is for, of course, giving, and giving away and sharing. Black ash from the foundry hangs like a hood, but the air is perfumed by the burning firewood. The seeds are bursting, the spring's a-seepin'. Lay down, my darling, love ain't keepin'. And then he just repeats that from there. So I like the picturesque lyrics here, and of course how he paints this really nice picture, to me, this beautiful countryside, but of course, imbuing that with the romanticism of one another, sharing love, etc., etc. Looking at this one, it says, let's see, it's the shortest song on this album and one of the lightest ones, and one of the few not to use synthesizers. However, an earlier version of the song was more of a hard rock song, and it did include synths and electric guitars. With Leslie West of Mountain, I'm finally starting to remember people. The hard rock version appears on reissued Sods and Sods, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, once again, you see that this one was originally conceived as part of that abandoned Lifehouse project, which we haven't clicked on. It was an unfinished sci-fi rock opera by The Who. It was abandoned, and of course, in favor of just doing a traditional album here, though its songs would appear, blah, blah, blah. In 1978, aspects of the project were revisited on Who Are You? In 2000, Townshend revived the concept with his set Lifehouse Chronicles and the sampler Lifehouse Elements, which of course would include elements of that project. However, the site is now defunct. The artwork and design of the box set was undertaken by Lawrence Sutherland. So at least, I just wanted a little background on what that project was. So that way, as we move forward, we can kind of get an idea of how it's incorporated into the album here. Let's move on to the next song here, which is going to be, hold on, I'm clicking around in tabs and I don't even know where I'm clicking. Clickety, click, clack, clack, the song. Oh no, My Wife, I'm sorry. Let's talk about My Wife. Not My Wife, but let's talk about My Wife. Okay, hold on, I gotta bring it back. Here we go. Entered hard and heavy there. Pick the wrong 3 seconds. Listen, he is doing anything he can to get out of there. He's doing. He said, "She's coming. I gotta get away from her. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter how much, it doesn't matter when, but it has to be now. I gotta get out of here." She's coming. And he said, I may have drank too much. I was in the wrong precinct, I may have added to the summation of her anger, and yet her anger is righteous and it is in pursuit. I like how fun this song is. That's what I'm getting from the lyrics, even the way it's played. I think it's just them kind of having a fun, having a laugh, a go at it. This isn't a serious song. It's played seriously and it's great, obviously, but this is just them having a laugh, about someone's battle axe of a wife. I see that, obviously I could definitely tell the difference on this one. It wasn't going to be Daltrey singing here. So this particular track is sung by, hold on. It's by John. So John is the one singing here. I think he sounds great. I love his voice, which is clearly different, but it works just as well. I love the "she's coming." That wasn't good. The "she's coming," just the repeated at the end. I think this is a fun song. Once again, Keith is putting down a lot of great drum work in here, which actually I'm kind of noticing. Keith is a drummer that he always keeps busy. I don't mean he's busy and in taking away from the song and the mood of it, but he plays in the pocket in a different way. Like, okay, this is like a joke I always say, but like I always praise drummers when they play in the pocket. You know, you got some change in your pocket, you got it in there. Keith doesn't just have change in his pocket. He's sitting there jingling his change and playing the nickels and the dimes, but it's still in the pocket. So that's what I mean. Like, listening to Moon, like, he's staying in his lane, but he's giving us some swerve. He's giving us some drift, and I like that. I think that it adds a great amount to the music, actually. Let me bring you guys up here. Looking at this particular track here, it says that, once again, it was while it did appear on the Who's Next, it was thought that it was not part of the Lifehouse project, actually, when it was not included on the Lifehouse Chronicles. Well, depending on the story of the Lifehouse project, I could still see this kind of showing up in there and still playing a part, depending on the story that's going on. My life's in jeopardy. Murdered in cold blood is what I'm gonna be. I ain't been home since Friday night, and now my wife is coming after me. What day is it? That's a pertinent question. Give me police protection. I'm going to buy a gun so I can look after number one. Give me a bodyguard, a black belt judo expert. I see you know your judo well. With a machine gun, she's going to buy a tank and airplane. When she catches up with me, there won't be no time to explain. She thinks I've been with another woman, and that's enough to send her half insane. My question is, what did you do to make her think that? He did say, all I did was have a bit too much to drink, and I picked the wrong precinct, got picked up by the law, and now I ain't got time to think. And he's like, keep me behind bars. Keep me behind here. There's police here. It's the police precinct. Don't let me out. Because if you let me out, it'll be straight from the pen to the coffin. That works. From confinement to the coffin. There you go. I had to play with the alliteration. Yeah, and he just repeats from there. I'm tired of running, and oh Lord, she coming. Let's go. Let's move on to the next track here, which is also going to be the final track on this particular side of the song, or the album. The song is over. Let me just play the song. Here, the song is over. Here you go. Synth with piano, huh? New piano bar. I feel good. I feel extremely satisfied. You know when the band leaves you wanting more? Like, yeah, I want more. But I'll be honest, I feel extremely satisfied by the side of the album that we just listened to. And yet, there's more. This was a perfect song to end this side of the album. It has that sentimentality. It has those sensibilities. I really enjoy the piano and synth combination. Has to be courtesy of Pete. And I really like the synth that's used in the beginning. It kind of has like a froggy-ish kind of sound to it. But I think that it's actually a really smart combination because I think that it could come across cheesy and slightly dated, like a piano and a synth combination, depending on how it's done. But I think that the synth is done very subtle in this track. We'll get to the high-pitched dog whistle part. But like that deeper one, I think it's done with enough subtlety that it doesn't actually take over. It's not like, I don't know, I can't think of a band like, I don't know, maybe Journey? Do they use synths? I can't remember. But like, you know, where it sounds like a little cheesy, a little dated of its time. Like, I just think that it's used here very sensible. I think the singing is fantastic. It's sweet and emotional. And while it starts out as a softer emotional track, it very quickly and very rapidly picks up into a much more energetic pace. And that actually works really nicely in lieu of the lyrics and in line with the lyrics, which works there, line or lieu, either way. Like, the song is over, it's all behind me. I should have known she'd try to find me. Which, I'm going to be honest, I thought that this might have, once again, been a connective tissue between the last track and here. Like, oh God, she found me. But I don't believe so. And then, our love is over. They're all ahead now. I've got to learn it. I'm going to sing out. So those lines are sung very emotionally. And I like that. I like how it starts off with this calm, reflective manner. But then, and whistle comes in. Moon comes in. it all comes ahead, and the music quickly speeds up into this energetic and brash kind of rock and roll tune. And I think that that sounds so cool, especially when, for example, the synth changes. Instead of that froggy in the marsh, now we're playing high-pitched dog whistle salamanders in the sky that are set on fire kind of pitch, and it just sounds cool. It doesn't sound annoying. I think that that's a sound that could almost be annoying. That that like like you take like the little thing like that. But I think once again, it's very creatively used, and it just sounds cool in kind of giving an extra little edge to the music at that particular moment. Once again, Moon is just playing with absolute abashin here, and he's just all the better for it, and it sounds fun. The guitar solo sounds really good. Like, it still takes that emotion that you heard in the beginning, but it just gives it an energetic kick, which works with the lyrics, right? As far as I can tell, right? It's their love is over. Their young love could have been his first love or whatever, but either way, this relationship that he's been in is now over. And I love the line here, our love is over, they're all ahead now. I read that line as, like when you first fall in love or you're in a relationship with someone, you probably notice that other people are in relationships as well. Well, something happens and your love, it fails. Your relationship is over. So you kind of slow down in a sense. You kind of think of it as a race or so. But you see all these other couples, your friends, your companions and whatever, like you see them continuing on in their love, in their race. So it's like this sad reflective state of, I'm falling behind, I've lost my love, but people around me are still in love. And I think if you've ever gone through a breakup or anything like that, especially if it's probably your first one, you have that feeling of, man, I failed or we failed. But now I'm looking at all these couples buying flowers. Valentine's Day comes along, and you're like, get out of here, I don't want to hear about your date that you had. I don't want to hear about it, right? You got that feeling, that emotion. However, as we see in the lyrics, this is when the music changes, and this is when the lyrics change. And he adapts quickly. He says, I've got to learn it. I'm going to sing out. What is he going to sing out? The following. I'll sing my song to the wide open spaces. I'll sing my heart out to the infinite sea. I'll sing my visions to the sky-high mountains. I'll sing my song to the free. And he repeats there from there. So he says, you know what? This one didn't end well. Let's try this again. I'm going to do this solo because I have to now. I'm going to push myself. I'm going to sing my song. I'm going to move forward, move past it, and life is going to be good. Life is going to be great. When I walked in through the door, thought it was me I was looking for, but she was the first song I ever sang. But it stopped as soon as it began. Obviously, she was the first relationship he was ever in. And as soon as it began, it was a hot flash in the pan, sizzle, sizzle, get out, and now you're out in the drizzle. Blah, 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 we read this already, can't hope to find me. The song is over, I'm left with only tears. I must remember, even if it takes a million years. No matter how long it takes, he has to keep this lesson in mind, which is so wonderfully sung by Townsend and Daltrey. The song is over, accepting one note, pure and easy, playing so free, like a breath rippling by. I would imagine that line is probably once again inspired by Baba. It just seems very like mantra-esque and spiritual. And maybe I'm wrong for once again attributing this to romance, but I'm strongly thinking that this is. And perhaps that one note is him. At the end of the day, you have yourself. You may lose others around you for this reason or that, but you have yourself, and it's just that pure and easy. So, and I forgot this Wikipedia page. I forgot about it. Let's see. So this song was originally to be the ending song on Lighthouse. It takes place after the police invade the Lifehouse Theater and the concert goers disappear. Where did they go? Says here, that mixture is achieved by Townsend's vocals, conveying a sense of the end. The song is over, it's all behind me, and Daltrey's conveying a sense of continuing. I sing my songs to the wide open spaces. That's actually really cool, that kind of contrast that they bring to one another, and one looking towards the future and one reflecting on the past. That's actually really cool how that's done there. And then it says, according to Segredo, the metaphor is about singing his farewell song to wide open spaces, sky-high mountains. The song poetically indicates that a heart may break, but it will endure as nature does. The heart must go on, said some famous artist who, for some reason, I'm forgetting who said that, but someone said it. Believe me, they did. Anyways, we are now at the halfway point, the halfway mark. Check it off. And usually at this point, I like to say, like, you know, hey, in the comments, you know, take a break, go get up, take a walk, you know, stretch your legs. We've been here for 54 minutes. We've been here for 54 minutes. You know, stretch your legs a little bit. You know, we got some more. I don't know what I'm doing here, but you know, we got some more music to listen to. So, you know, I also like to ask you guys to put a comment in the comment section, because I like to see who's still watching. Like, some people just skipped out. Like, I don't know who will skip out at this point, but some people skipped out, like, probably at the first song. So for those of you who are still watching, in the comment section, tell me what you're eating, what you're drinking. What are you eating or drinking right now? Even if it's nothing, tell me. Because I know I can't sit here and eat like a bowl of spaghetti in front of you. That would be horrific. That's not the type of ASMR that I want to provide for you guys. I can sip. But, you know, that's the most I can do. So what are you guys eating? Because you guys can sit there and eat your whole dinner, a steak dinner, as a matter of fact, you know, and watch the video. Or you might be drinking a nice Bordeaux or Merlot. Either way, put that in the comments down below. And yeah, with that, see, if it's your first time here and you've gotten to this point in the video, like, we're just here to be casual, have a good time. I want you guys to have a good time. I want to have a good time here listening to the music and just hanging out in a sense with you guys. I really wish I could like do this live and have like a chat, but like I can't do that live because of copyright. But anyways, I want this to be a thing, you know. Let's move on into the next track here, which is let's move on into the next track here. We got to get back into it, and with that, let's go to Getting in Tune. We're heading to the mechanic. Let us go. They fooled you for a second. You know what I've noticed about certain tracks from The Who is I like how they set you up with like, this is going to be a slow, emotional song, and it's going to be like all about the feeling and all about just relax and melodic, and I want to sing my heart out to you. And then they come out with the side swipe and just throw all that aside and just begin to rock out. In this track, I was expecting a soft entry into the second side with the way that it opened up, the very sensitive singing, the really nice piano playing in the back. I'm like, okay, that's very, very nice. It doesn't take very long for it to come out the side and just swipe us on the face and give us a hootenanny. That's the best way I can put it. The piano playing in this particular track is performed by Nicky Hopkins. And man, the piano playing is fantastic. This is like, I don't know, this is to me like being in a bar kind of piano, like that, like, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. It's just that bar bluesy piano, and the way that Nicky's going off at the very end, especially when the band is just kind of crashing and thrashing into oblivion. I think it just sounds absolutely sensational as Nicky is just matching that absolutely wonderfully. The singing is really cool because it, once again, the singing, it shows the vocal delivery and the range because it starts from that soft emotional side, but then by the time it's getting to the rock and roll of it all, like it's very barsy and bluesy, and got that little bit of growl, and I don't mean like, you know, Opeth growl. I mean like it's got that blues rock kind of growl. That's what I mean. It has that little bit of taste in its mouth, and I think that sounds really amazing. Once again, Moon sounds great. I really love his fills and the way that he enters the music because he always makes an impact. He always makes a wave and a splash when he comes in, and here in this track, it is absolutely no different. It's just a really great sounding track, and I think the lyrics are really cool as well, especially the kind of fourth wall breaking that happens here. I'm singing this note because it fits in well with the chords I'm playing. I can't pretend there's any meaning hidden in the things I'm saying. Now, obviously you're getting a little bit of a fourth wall break, but on one hand, yes, the notes, of course, sound good in the chords that he's playing, so yeah, that's why he's doing it. And he says, I can't pretend there's any hidden meaning, and yet, is there? Either way, he says, but I'm in tune, right in tune, and in tune I'm gonna tune right in on you. Kind of like a radio, turning those frequencies, turning the knobs, and then remember the old radio? And then you turn the frequency and you're like, get a static, little static, up, boom, bada bing, I'm right in tune with you. I get a little tired of having to say, do you come here often? But when I look in your eyes, I see the harmonies and heartache soften. I'm getting in tune, right in on you. I got it all here in my head. There's nothing more needs to be said. I'm just banging on my old piano, which you clearly hear throughout the song. Once again, fourth wall breaking. I'm getting in tune to the straight and narrow, getting in tune to the straight and narrow. Now, I don't need to click that annotation because from what we've learned of this album and from the inspiration of this album, yeah, there's the romantic love side, but there's also the spiritual side. I know that there's a Bible verse that says, I don't know what it says exactly, but it says like something of the nature of the path to salvation is straight and narrow. The path to destruction is wide open. Like if you want salvation, you got to go through the small path. It's thin, but if you want to be destroyed, like it's wide open. Go there, have fun, free admission, kind of thing. So like, yeah, you're getting, of course, straight romance lines with "I'm getting a little tired. Do you come here often?" You know, heartache and harmonies. But you're also getting spiritual lines as well. So once again, we're playing right in between the heart and the soul. I'm singing this note because it fits in well here with the way I'm feeling. There's a symphony that I hear in your heart, sets my head a-reeling. So I also like the musical references and, you know, this note fits because it's how I feel. I think that is such a simple and yet very beautiful thing to say. This note has a certain feeling. This singular note, this chord, this strum of a guitar, this chord on a piano, it has this feeling. And that's why I'm playing that specific note, which, if you think about any music, for the most part, is inspired by emotion or whatever the artist is feeling. So they play that note because of how they're feeling. So I just think that's kind of cool. I've got it all here in my head. There's nothing more needs to be said. I'm just banging on my old piano, getting in tune to the straight and narrow. With this song, let's see here. Once again, it was originally part of the Lifehouse project. Its lyrics describe the power of music as well as reflect the inner contradictions Townshend was feeling at the time between his spiritual needs and his persona as a rock star. Getting in Tune was originally conceived, blah, blah, blah. The song's lyrics begin by noting that the singer doesn't really have anything to say. Rather, he claims he's singing it. We already know what it says. We read it. However, the singer is fed up with this superficiality and thus is getting in tune to the straight and narrow. And that's what, yeah, we already know that. Okay. The music begins with session musician Nicky Hopkins playing a gentle tune while John plays the bass. The opening lines. I've heard who plays what. Moon provides laid-back drumming throughout most of the song, but speeds up for the frantic portion of the song at the end. Speed up, indeed, he does. Let's go ahead and move on to the next track here, which is going to be Going Mobile. Or maybe, just maybe, we're going to Alabama. Hear how Moon changes the groove of it, taking that snare out? You know, for a song called Going Mobile, it does move a lot. It has a lot of movement, and I had a lot more fun during that song than for some reason I thought I would. When it first began, I was like, okay, I've heard this from The Who already. We've heard this rock and roll sound they're playing. What are you doing different, right? And that's with any band, with any album, like, you know what to expect. So give me something, of course, within that same realm, but kind of unexpected. That's the hard thing about being an artist sometimes, right? You want to stay true to yourself, but then the fans, this and that. Doesn't matter. Keith, his drumming is so fun in here. And I think it's really interesting how that one moment, like I said, each time that he takes out the snare, that's really all he's doing. He's taking out his snare and the drums for like a brief moment, and then he puts it right back in there. I think that is such a cool idea because it truly does change the rhythm of the track. And it kind of shows you, or let's speak for myself as the listener, just how much the drums can change how a song sounds. Which, yes, that's obvious, but you get an example and a demonstration live here on the recording, which I think is kind of cool. As this song's talking about traveling and movement from one place to another, I'm sure about them traveling and being on the road and touring, this is just my interpretation of it. I put this song and I kind of picture it as the band being on a tour bus and they're going, you know, Route 66 or so, just across the desert to their next show. And for a brief moment, everyone in the band, everyone in the RV or in the tour bus stops talking for a moment. There's no music playing. There's nothing, just the hum and the thud of the road. And when Moon stops playing that snare, for some reason, I kind of get that feeling of just this kind of quiet, I didn't make a sound, but the quiet hum of the vehicle, the bumps in the road, whatever other sounds are kind of going on. There's just nothing happening. At least that's what I was hearing. I just thought that was kind of a cool little moment, at least with the way I was thinking of it. The synth returns in great fashion. That guitar solo, there's something funky going on with that guitar solo. There's some sort of sound and sonic manipulation that's happening. And there's a Wikipedia article for this, so I'm sure we'll get an explanation. But there's something kind of funky happening in that guitar solo, which I love it. It has this this wobbly sound. And then as it moves towards the end of it, it kind of changes the wave. Like, you know, like sound like this would be in wavelengths and such. Like the wave is changing, which is just really cool. And I'm kind of curious, very curious how that was done. But that sounded really cool. Let's get these lyrics though. I'm going home, and when I want to go home, I'm going mobile. Well, I'm going to find a home and we'll see how it feels going mobile. Keep me moving. I can pull up by the curb. I can make it on the road going mobile. I can stop in any street, invite in people that we meet. Like, he's mobile. He doesn't need a place to call his home. He doesn't need a place to lay his head. He's mobile and he's having a great time. Out in the woods or in the city, it's all the same to me. When I'm driving free, the world's my home when I'm mobile. And then he gets into it. He gives little a Bowie. Beep, beep. Golden years. Beep, beep. He just throws it out there. Play the tape machine, make the toast and tea. When I'm mobile, I can lay in bed with only highway ahead. Keep me moving over 50, keep me grooving. I'm hippie gypsy. Come on, move now. Keep me moving, keep me grooving. I don't care about pollution. I'm an air-conditioned gypsy. Like, he's still moving around, but he's air-conditioned. That's my solution. Watch the police and the tax man miss me. I'm mobile. Can't come knocking if you knock. If I'm moving. And then with the track here, lead singer Daltrey did not take part in the recording. He left this one to the rest of the band. Townsend handles the vocals, guitars, and synths, and everyone else is on their appropriate instrument. Let's see. Townsend described the use of the song in the proposed project as the story unfolded because of the vagaries of the modern world, because of pollution being caused mainly by people's need to travel, to be somewhere else. People had been told, you can't do that anymore. You have to stay where you are. But people got this lust for life and adventure and a little bit of color. It celebrates the joy of having a mobile home and being able to travel the highways at will. Just that general idea of that freedom. There. Looking into this, here we go. Further on his guitar solo, Townsend plays the instrument through an envelope. Hey, there's the waves. That's not exactly what I was thinking of, but close enough. A feature of the ARP synthesizer that produces what Townsend describes as a fuzzy wah-wah sound. Couldn't have said it better than myself. Chris Charlesworth describes the effect as being as if Townsend is playing underwater. You know how last names used to mean something like, used to be like what you were or your job or career? What do you think Charlesworth came from? Like, Charles, you are worth. So, I'm sorry. This, let me not go on tangents. Let me not go on tangents. Let me move on to the next track here, which is Behind Blue Eyes. Let's go ahead and get behind them. I almost made a Yu-Gi-Oh joke, but let's listen to this song. I'm absolutely unhinged today.
My conscience seems to be can show through, but my dream when my fist clenches, crack it open before I use it, lose my cool.
Oh, that's the song. Oh, it ended so quick and suddenly. I actually was okay. I was taking a bit off from there. That is wonderful. I love how the first half, I guess, of this track is just so wonderfully sung and harmonized, beautifully delivered with just a little bit of guitar back there to push it along gently like a breeze. And it's a song, as far as I can tell, of of someone wanting understanding and wanting to be comforted, wanted to be treated well, and perhaps misunderstood. Like, actually, can I tell you? Let me go over the lyrics actually really quick because it kind of ties in. No one knows what it's like to be the bad man, to be the sad man behind blue eyes. No one knows what it's like to be hated, to be faded, to telling only lies. Interesting that he says to be faded, like he has no choice to be the bad man, or maybe he's just looked up and looked as being the bad man, but in reality, he's, as he says, the sad man. His exterior shows A, but inside he's feeling B. And he just wants everybody else to see the real me. That's a good one. And I like how the song is so reflective and emotional in the way that everyone sings it. That's really wonderful. But my dreams, they aren't as empty as my conscience seems to be, right? He's still a dreamer. He still has dreams and desires and wants and goals. And he says that his dreams aren't as empty as his conscience may be. So maybe this is someone who does bad things for whatever reason. Maybe this is a criminal, someone that does something, and so he's viewed by society as bad. But inside, he just wants to be loved. He just wants to be understood and stuff, right? I have hours, only lonely. My love is vengeance that's never free. That is a strong line. No one knows what it's like to feel these feelings like I do. And I blame you. So there's a point of his anger. No one bites back as hard on their anger. None of my pain and woe can show through. So like he has to hold himself back. He has to restrain himself. But my dreams, they aren't as empty as my... Okay, we read that. When my fist clenches, crack it open before I use it and lose my cool. Like he's asking someone, like when I clench my fist in anger, please crack it open. Like he doesn't say like open it. He doesn't say like tell me to unclench my fist. He says crack it open. That's a strong verb of like force me to relax, basically. Chillax. Just let me relax. When I smile, tell me some bad news. Like he's uncomfortable with his feelings before I laugh and act like a fool. And if I swallow anything evil, put your finger down my throat. Of course, like, get it out of me. If I shiver, please give me a blanket, keep me warm, let me wear your coat. I like how you can see those kind of emotional defenses being worn down. Like, he truly just wants to be loved and shown love. Like, if you see me shiver, let me wear your coat. However, is he afraid to ask that? No one knows what it's like to be the bad man, to be the sad man behind blue eyes. And of course, the music takes up and becomes more energetic, in the midst of it. But I really like the soft emotional punch and the lyrics here. In a way, I'm not saying that it is, but in a way, knowing about Tommy before, in a way, this could almost kind of go with Tommy a little bit, this particular track. Let's look at this here. Let's see. The song is one of The Who's best known recordings and has been covered by many artists, including Limp Bizkit. That's interesting. The single entered the U.S. Billboard charts, reaching number 34. It says that Behind Blue Eyes originated after a Tommy tour in Denver. Following the performance, Townsend became tempted by a female groupie, but he instead went back to his room alone, possibly as a result of the teachings. Upon reaching his room, he began writing a prayer. The first words being, "When my fist clenches, crack it open." Of course, it appears later in the song. When Blue Eyes was to be released as the Lifehouse project, the song was sung from the point of view of the main villain, Jumbo. It's quite a name. The lyrics are a first-person lament from him, who is always angry and full of angst because of all the pressure and temptation that surrounds him. And it was intended to be his theme song had the project been successful. Kind of like Scar's Be Prepared. Townsend says Blue Eyes really is off the wall because that was the song sung by the villain. The fact that he felt in the original story that he was forced into the position of being a villain, whereas he felt he was the good guy. You gotta love a villain with some depth. You gotta love a villain that thinks he's in the right, and even you can kind of see like where he's coming from in certain places. So I do see actually Tommy being mentioned here. Eventually, the song breaks out in a full anthem, with the second theme being introduced near the end before a brief reprise. Songs written in alternating sections were a feature of Townsend's writing in that period, going back to at least Tommy, where the technique was used in Christmas and Go to the Mirror. Maybe that's why I'm thinking of it, just that kind of thematic throwback, I guess, if you will. Either way, great track. And with that, my friends, let's move on into the final track here on the album, which is going to be Won't Get Fooled Again. And you know what they say, Michael McDonald said it best. What a fool believes. Can't you see? Okay. I don't know what I'm doing in this video. I'm absolutely unhinged in this video, but I'm having a great time. I think it's only been an hour and 25 minutes. That's it. Let's go ahead and listen to the final track here. Won't Get Fooled Again. Hope you've had a great time. Let's have one last go around. Here we go.
Change it had to come.
So kind of bring it down a little bit. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we have finished listening to The Who with their whole album, Who's Next. Hope you had a great time. I have a question. I don't even think I've ever in my life watched an episode of CSI. However, that part when you say, yeah, is that from CSI? Because even I know that, like, that meme. Is that where they took it from? Did they take it from The Who won't get fooled again? Is that sounded pretty close. Hope they bought the copyright to that. This is an epic rock and roll track to end the album. And it's not, like, it's 8 minutes long, right? Is this the longest track on the album? Let me look at that track listing again really quick. Let me pull it up real quick. I'm pretty sure it is. Yeah, 8 minutes and 30 seconds long. And I think the interesting thing is it's not even like anywhere near what I would call like a progressive rock song. But it's just, to me, like straight 8 minutes of unadulterated, unfiltered, pure rock and roll with some mind-blowing drumming. I mean, the drumming, we expect it by now, but like it is just fantastic. For example, near the end, that moment where Moon is playing, I don't know, he's right? And he just kind of takes that and he kind of rolls it down the mountain opposite of Sisyphus, and he pulls it down into like this calm, not purely tribal, but almost like a tribal-esque kind of tom pattern. And then he takes that even further and kind of simmers it down, right, into the quiet abyss. And then that's where we're pretty much just left with that with some light organ sprinkled on the side. And I really like that section right there, that little bit of ambience. And then, I mean, you guys saw my face, like Moon comes in and just frightens, he frightens me. And it just pops right back into it. And I just think that that is so sensational and such a cool moment in the track. The song, I can't tell you for sure, but I'm pretty sure there were 3 guitar solos in there. And that's what I mean. Like, to me, it just felt like this 8-minute rock and roll epic. Not an 8-minute prog rock song or whatever. It's just an 8-minute rock and roll finale to what was already an amazingly satisfying album. And I think it's cool because besides that moment with the synth kind of, you know, diddling in the middle or in the beginning and really at the end, like there's no odd time signatures. There's nothing crazy about it, but they are just hitting you over the head with, hey, don't get fooled because we're here to stay. You know, we're who are we? If you didn't know, now you know. And I just think that sounds really cool. Looking at the lyrics on this one, I have to imagine that this has to have relation to the Lifehouse Project. Just because of how story narrative heavy it seems. We'll be fighting in the streets with our children at our feet, and the morals that they worship will be gone. And the men who spurred us on sit in judgment of all wrong. They decide, and the shotgun sings the song. It's a revolution, baby. I'll tip my hat to the new Constitution, take a bow for the new revolution. Smile and grin at the change all around. Pick up my guitar and play just like yesterday. Then I'll get on my knees and pray we don't get fooled again. So we went through this once, we experienced it, we came out well on the other side. But let's not go through this again. So he says, let's not get fooled again, basically. Change, it had to come. We knew it all along. We were liberated from the fold, that's all. And the world looks just the same. The history ain't changed because the banners, they are all flown in the last war. We repeat that again. I'll move myself and my family aside if we happen to be left alive. I'll get on my papers and smile at the sky, for I know that the hypnotized never lie. Do you? Interesting line there. Have they been fooled into thinking they've won? Have they been hypnotized into thinking they've won? Have they been propagandized? I don't even know if that's a word. Into thinking they've won. Sometimes it's nice to give my ears a break. That's kind of an interesting little twist, huh? There's nothing in the street looks any different to me, and the slogans are effaced by the by. And the parting on the left is now the parting on the right, and the beards have all grown longer overnight. And he repeats this again. Yeah, meet the new boss, same as the old boss. There you go. That is how you sum up the song. That is how you make a great M. Night Shyamalan twist there at the end. Meet the new boss, same as the old boss. You thought you were having a revolution? Yeah, and just like a revolution, traveling in circles, just round and round, a little bit of an Ouroboros situation. Looking at this particular track, it released as a single in June 1971, reaching the top 10 in the UK, while the full 8.5-minute version appears as the final track, of course, in the album. So, okay, so it was a single version. Okay, so there you go. 3 minutes and 36 seconds. I see you. This was written as the closing track for the Lifehouse project, and the lyrics criticize Revolution of Power, of course. As well as being a hit, the song achieved critical praise, appearing as blah, 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 blah. It's a great song, right? The song was originally intended for the Lifehouse project, which, you know, obviously, yes, we already gathered that. But you can hear how even in this song, just like taken as a standalone, it really does feel like its own little epic, basically. The song was written for the end of the opera after the main character Bobby is killed and the universal chord is sounded. The main characters disappear, leaving behind the government and army, who are left to bully each other. Townsend described the song as one that screams defiance at those who feel any cause is better than no cause. That's a great, great line. He later said that the song is not strictly anti-revolution, despite the lyric "we'll be fighting in the streets," but stressed that revolution could be unpredictable, adding, "Don't expect to see what you expect to see." That is such a really, really fantastic song. There's a ton of information about this thing, which, you know, that's all good, but I got what I want. I just wanted to hear the background. I like the story behind it, and I think that that is a really, really awesome song. Like I said, kind of perfectly defining at least the literal revolution of circles, and, you know, not getting out of the loop because he's stuck in the loop. This was a really fun album to listen to. I think that very easily my favorite song on here, take a guess, ding dong, it's Bargain. And my second favorite song, I'd probably go with Behind Blue Eyes. I think that those are, well, no, I don't think so. Those are my two favorite tracks in listening to it, at least here for the first time with you guys. Bargain, I think, is just such a strong song. And then Behind Blue Eyes, I love that, not exactly a cappella, but just the vocals that kind of take up the meat of the song. I think that's just so fun to listen to. So that's the video, guys. Man, I feel like I've talked so... It's been an hour and 40 minutes. It's been almost 2 hours that you have spent with me. Not almost 2 hours, but it's close, an hour and a half. And once again, as always, I appreciate you guys being here. Can I ask you something? If it's your first time watching me, like if it's your first time ever being on my channel and you're here at this specific point, can you just tell me, like, hey, it's my first time watching and I'm here still watching? Because I don't know why. This is just my perception. I still, to an extent, am amazed at, like, people watching the channel and people listening to me talk and listening to the music with me and such. And, you know, you guys see things differently than I do. I just see myself as a guy, like, sitting here listening to music saying, yeah, that's cool, or no, that's not really cool, explaining why, and then kind of moving on. But, like, I thank you guys really for watching. And I'm just really curious, like, for someone's first time and they've watched me this long, thank you. Just say hi, introduce yourself. I will 100% try and get back to you in the comments or something, because I'm usually floating around down there. But yeah, forget all that. Whew, I'm tired now. I mean, matter of fact, you guys can take a seat. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to the music alongside me. Of course, I would love to know your favorite songs on this album. I think that Bargain is a bargain. And Behind Blue Eyes, I see nothing but perfection. But I would love to know what you guys see behind those blue eyes, or what you think is a bargain here on the album. Of course, as mentioned previously, you don't have to, but you are more than welcome to support what I do on Patreon. You can obviously watch this video for free, but if you want to support what I do for as little as $2 a month, you can do that, as it does go a long way in doing albums like this and any other album and the reactions that we do on the channel, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, that's it. Press the like button, subscribe if you haven't already, which I'd imagine if you've watched to this point, you're probably subscribed, but I don't want to judge. That's it, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Come back tomorrow. And I'll see you all later. Bye, guys. My throat is my throat is tired. I need a lozenge. I just feel like I've talked so much. I feel like I've talked so much. I've never